Medical marijuana professionals on Gratiot and Roseville. For certifications, call 1-877-RX-42099. The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069. Hey, Steve Greene here to tell you about my good friends over at the Hydro Hut Garden Supply Store in Inkster. Why am I so excited about Hydro Hut? The $200 Mad Light deal. That's right. $200 gets you a 1,000-watt high-pressure sodium bulb, an E-wing reflector, and a digital ballast. That's right, a digital one. Call them today at 313-228-5544. It's Hydro Hut. It's 20% off on your first purchase, but you got to mention the Medical Marijuana Radio Show to get it. Check them out at hydrohutonline.com. That's Hydro Hut at hydrohutonline.com.
Countdown to launch. It's the Medical Marijuana
Launch commit.
Radio Show.
Guidance is internal. Ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff. Power clear.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show is a production of the Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
You tuned in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM Radio. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Hey. You tuned in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM Radio. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Okay, Steve is the host with the co-host Denise. Starting at noon Saturdays every week. Yes, we keepin' you legal. Legislators and lawyers, doctors and the growers. The show is for the people. Michigan Medical Marijuana, no hassle. We talk about anything, any issue we can handle. Call us up and let us know what is on your mind. And make sure when you do it legal every time. Hey. You tune in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM Radio. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Hey. You tuned in to that Medical Marijuana Show. 855-MMM Radio. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal. Keep it legal.
Welcome to another Medical Marijuana Radio Show for, boy, oh boy, it's the 7th of July already. I can't believe it's that far into the year. July 7th, 2012. I'm patient caregiver Steve Greene. To my side, we've got a full boat today. Denise Policella, business attorney. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Also, Rick Thompson. Again, we don't know how to pigeonhole Rick. Nope, no pigeonholing on the Rick.
Rick is activist and citizen at large.
Yes, well, he does a number of things. That's why I say that. Rick, you got a bunch of hats. Do you want to talk about any of them? No?
No hats on
I
today.
do actually. I lost my headphones for a second there. Yeah, but I'm on the Planet Green Trees radio program also, a national blogger. Like you said, local activist, journalist. I'm published in a lot of the papers that service our community in Michigan and in California.
Catch you in the Huffington Post from time to time. What is it? What do they pick that up out of? The New Baltimore patch? Is that what they pick it up from?
New Baltimore Chesterfield patch is where most of my blogs initiate from. And then, of course, weedblog.com, which is a national blog, which goes out internationally, actually.
Ryan in the studio today, too. Ryan will do the Cannabis Radio News. Are you prepared for the news today, Ryan?
We're good to go. I'm ready.
He's ready, he says. All right. So on today's program, it's a fun day. It's a plug your business day. Ooh. It's a free plug Saturday. And we're also going to be giving away Cedar Point tickets pretty much throughout the show. We do have only one pair to give away this time. We gave away a pair last week and a couple of pair the week before. Next Saturday, we're going to do the broadcast live from the park.
That's going to be so much fun.
So Ryan's in the background with double fist pumping. I think it's going to be a blast. I mean, we're just going to go down and talk about the park and have fun at the park and, have her explain to us all the new rides. And, I mean, people like to know this stuff. It's basically going to be a Cedar Point infomercial. Why not?
I haven't worked my way through the old rides. See, every time I've been to Cedar Point in the last 2 years, it's been with my kids. So I haven't been on
Last time I was at the Gemini was new.
Well, are your kids too?
Seriously?
Oh, gosh.
That caused some laughter in the studio.
Oh my! See, and you know what? Now, like I remember in junior high, you had to wait for like 45 minutes, an hour to get on the Gemini, and now you just walk right up and go. Because it's like it's not even on the radar, but it's
like
still
the
really
teacup ride now.
No, but
that's
it's
because
still
all
really
the
fun.
3-year-olds are there.
You can pull that microphone over closer to you. You don't have to
it makes the squeak.
It's not like let's make a deal.
No, but
or
I'm telling you, the Gemini is still a really wicked fun coaster, and the best part is that you don't have to wait in line anymore.
I like how you have to go upside down on the corkscrew. That's
no,
always
I won't
cool.
go on that anymore. I got
badass.
stuck on the corkscrew.
Hang underneath.
I'm all done.
Hang out underneath and catch change as people come up above you.
I think it's hilarious.
I don't do the corkscrew anymore. I don't. I got
Well,
stuck
we
on
get
it
a little
once,
older, and then
it
wow,
freaked me
some
out.
things are harder.
A lot of women tell me that, but I find out it's not true later.
Well, anyway, back to
Speak for yourself.
Hey, what I was trying to say is it's a lot of fun at Cedar Point, and we're going to go do some broadcasting from right underneath. If you're going to come out with us, or if you end up watching us online, because we're going to bring all the cameras we can and have as many angles as we can of as much as we can. And we'll be right underneath as you enter the park. The first ride on the left-hand side is the Mantis, isn't it?
Raptor.
No,
Raptor, that's
it's the
my
Raptor.
favorite
It's the
one.
Raptor. That's what it is.
Raptor's
It was
the
dancing
best.
penguins last time I was there.
The Raptor's the best ride there.
No, it is.
still.
It is
Still.
the Raptor. It's the Greene ride. It's a huge green
you
coaster.
sit in it,
and
and
we're
your
gonna
legs
be
dangle.
We're gonna be right underneath it, with the screaming people and and a big 1310 banner.
Very cool.
I think I'm gonna have a big 1310 banner made. I think it'll be fun. So that's next Saturday. Join us for that. You can get tickets at RadioWeedShow.com. They're $35. They're the biggest discount I've seen besides the UAW. Seems like the UAW's got a better discount than us, but I think they probably deserve it.
Don't give them a good price; they'll break your legs.
Well, so
I love my union
bury you-
brothers.
bury you
I
under
love
the
my
Raptor.
union brothers.
the UAW has a significantly larger crowd than us to bring with them.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can
So far.
you can here's how you can do this. It's really easy. You go online at RadioWeedShow.com. You can pick between 1 and 4 tickets to buy 1, 2, 3, or 4 tickets. They're all $35 a piece because there's a charge associated with it from the credit card company. We added that on. It's like $3 for the transaction, so that's not too bad. And then you find your own way down, or you can come down with us. If you decide you don't want to buy the tickets online and you want to come with us at the last minute, the last stop, all aboard call is on Friday. You'll have to, tell us that you're coming so we can include you on the list. And then you'll have to be there present with us at the park when we open the park in order to buy them, because you've got your money and we need that money to put with the group purchase.
RadioWeedShow.com is how they can get them right this first
That's
second.
the easiest way. But I'm saying some people will decide at the last minute. In fact, probably most people will decide at the last minute they'll either go or they won't. And if you do, and you didn't purchase them online, or you don't have a way to do that online, you got cash only, you can still do it, but you do have to be with us in the park in the morning when we buy them. Otherwise, there's no way to get the group discount. You have to pay the full price.
What time will we be meeting at the front gate to do these purchases?
We'll be there out in front of the park between. You'll be able to see us right through the gates. You'll be able to see us setting up, so you can probably holler to us, "Hey!" or tell that guy over there we're trying to buy tickets. We'll be there until the park opens at 10 o'clock. So between say 8 and 10, we'll be in there trying to set up. And so you can meet up with us then, or you can always call the telephone number 810-423-2350. We'll be I'll be getting that phone ringing in my pocket. It won't be convenient for me, but we can find a way to meet up with you out in the front of the park. Obviously, we'll be hauling our gear in right there where the ticket gate is, so you can't like I said, you can't miss us. It'll be really easy to find us. But you got to buy them before the park opens. If they don't buy them before the park opens, you're going to end up paying full price at the gate because we won't have time to chase you around later in the day. Now, if you did buy your tickets online, or if you do and you don't want to show up at the time that we're there, that's fine too, because your tickets are already been purchased. You can show up anytime during the day and just go to Will Call and give them your ID, tell them your name, and they'll have your tickets there waiting for you. So that'll be easy enough that way. So that's how that's set up. Intend to give away a pair today, and then also our good friends over at Puff Daddy's, who recently moved out of Ypsilanti. That's now a BDT store over there in Ypsi at Third Coast. What's that? 19 North Hamilton. Now Puff Daddy's in Wyandotte. He's been there for Well, since the beginning of the year, pretty much. Has a great glass boutique there. He's super happy. I'm so glad to see Puff Daddy in a happy way.
Are they done with that construction, though?
I'm not sure. I've not been down there
God.
yet. Was it crazy down there the last time you?
But it has been a couple of months since.
Well, you'd think they were because they just had the downriver cruise down there.
I don't know. That construction down there looked like it was going to last forever.
I felt bad because last week I intended. Remember we had Dan Riffle on last week. He took up a couple segments, and we had the news to do with Ryan, and then we had there was something else going on.
Eric Gunnels.
Eric Gunnels was on, and it squeezed out Puff Danny. He was playing us down there at the downriver cruise. He had a barbecue going, wanted us to talk him up, but I completely didn't get a chance to do it, so I felt so horrible.
I totally didn't know.
You're an evil man.
I did. There's a downriver cruise.
There is. It's
a really big thing too. It's a very big deal. It's just like the Gratiot cruises. Yeah.
Is it really? That sounds awesome. I mean, I know about the boat races, but I didn't know there was a cruise down that way.
So
that's cool.
Maybe during the show we'll call up Puff Danny and talk to him and see if we can't pump him up a little bit.
The happy one.
It's not during the downriver cruise, but at least it's a chance to bump up his.
Is he up yet?
I don't know.
Call us, Puff.
Give us a ring, Puff.
It's noon.
All right, if you don't call us,
get up, dude.
Don't call us, we'll call you. So that's going on. Also on the programming today, coming up after the break here, I'm going to talk to a guy from the Saginaw area. Now, there's a lot of people who are in his kind of circumstance, and I just kind of wanted to take a time where we're not in the thick of the politics right now and explain to people why we are in the politics of this, because this guy's a good example of the people getting caught up in the spider webs of the police these days. And we can talk about some of the tactics used. And so we'll talk to Scott from up in the Saginaw area.
Oh, this is Scott. This is the one I spoke to. Hi, Scott.
Yeah, we did. We'll talk to him in a couple of minutes after the break on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Also, so what we're going to be doing to play the tickets, for Cedar Point tickets, we're going to be asking questions from last week's show. Now, that being said, I haven't done it yet. I got to print it out. I got to print out the database from the show. Because in order to win the tickets, you're supposed to sign up online and put your phone number in there, and then we're supposed to call you. Oh. We got like 10 numbers.
Awesome.
So what we'll do is we'll go through the numbers that we haven't called already in the previous shows, that haven't already played, and then we'll open up the phone lines. So during the show, after we talk to Scott here in a bit, we'll start playing the contest. And when we do, if you want to play the contest, I'm just going to leave it open to people to call as well, and let you go ahead and maybe you didn't want to go online, maybe you couldn't, maybe you don't have a computer, It's a rough time. We'll just let you have if you got a phone, you can still play, you can still win.
1940 where you are. You don't have a computer.
But you will have to have listened to last week's show.
Okay. Economic disparity all around.
That's true. I'm making up questions. So
yeah, if you didn't listen to last week's show, it'll be harder to win because you'd have to guess at the answer to the question, and we're not trying to just give it away. We want you to listen to the show. We want you to have some fun at this.
Give it away.
Hey, we got the Red Hot Chili Peppers right over here live in studio. A red hot pepper.
I'm actually the mild green chili pepper.
He's the little cousin.
Salsa verde. It's the green stuff. Watch out for that. So more to come. Stick with us on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Don't go away, folks.
Got something to say?
Call now toll free 855-MMM Radio. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
If you or someone you know received a traffic ticket, has been charged with a misdemeanor, drinking and driving, criminal offense, or has had their driver's license taken away, they need an attorney. They need attorney Glenn McCandless. He's helped hundreds of people solve their legal problems over the past 16 years.
My law firm is dedicated to providing quality legal services at affordable rates.
Call us at 586-755-2900. Again, that's 586-755-2900. Call now.
The Committee for a Safer Michigan is collecting signatures to put repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults on the November ballot, and we need your help. Outlawing marijuana has not reduced its availability, made society safe, nor reduced access for minors. Marijuana prohibition has wasted limited tax dollars, put otherwise law-abiding citizens in handcuffs, eroded the public's relationship with law enforcement, and denied relief to seriously ill, injured, and dying citizens that were supposed to be protected by the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. The Committee for a Safer Michigan is working to legalize marijuana for adults, and we need your help to put it on the ballot. Go to repealtoday.org to find out more about this historic effort. That's repealtoday.org to learn more, or call 269-548-8422 to end prohibition and sign the petition. Ending marijuana prohibition will reduce access by minors, allow law enforcement to focus on violent crime, reduce gang activity and organized crime, and create jobs by allowing a new Michigan hemp industry. Paid for with regulated funds by the Committee for a Safer Michigan, 2930 East Jefferson Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48207.
The law offices of Targowski and Grow remind you to stand up for your rights. Always treat law enforcement with respect, but if you're detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search or seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to talk to my attorneys, John Targowski and Daniel Grow. Targowski and Grow have the education and experience you need to be successful in Michigan courts. Call Targowski and Grow toll-free, 800-957-1069. The law offices of Targowski and Grow, 800-957-1069.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show.
Screen falling off the door hanging off the hinges. My feet are still sore, my back's on the fringes. We tore up the walls, we slept on couches, we lifted.
Welcome back to the show. It's about 17 minutes after 12 o'clock. You'll find us here every Saturday from noon until 1 o'clock on RadioWeedshow.com, also on Ustream and on iHeartRadio. You can look us up that way. With us on the telephone is Scott, as I promised you, from the Saginaw area. Scott, welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you for having me.
I wanted to talk to you about, because, we touched base off the air about something that happened to you in your area. Do you want to give people the background, or do you want me to, set it up for them?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, as I understand the story, Scott, you were involved in some kind of situation with the police. Now, you're just a patient, correct? You're not a caregiver. You're a carded patient.
Correct.
And you, in your area, had, and you grow for yourself, correct? You don't have a caregiver. You're just growing for yourself.
Correct.
And so you had some that you weren't going to be using for yourself that you took to your local compassion club. That's
correct also.
And so you went in there and you made an exchange at the compassion club, which I would suggest is probably not a good thing to do, since it's at least as it relates to the law. In this situation, laws determine that you're not allowed to make a transaction with somebody that's not your own caregiver when there's monetary
compensation
involved. And so you went into the compassion club, made a transaction you had 2 ounces?
Correct.
And so the transaction is complete and you're still in the club.
Correct.
And at some point after that, a police officer enters. Now, this is a sheriff's department?
Correct.
Okay, and so somebody from the sheriff's department enters the compassion club announcing what?
I do not have a warrant. I'm just here to snoop.
He said, I'm just here to snoop?
I'm just here to look around. I want
to... So basically, he told everybody, I'm on a fishing expedition. Watch your behinds.
So at that point, the people in charge kick his butt out, right?
No, they didn't do that.
Well, and it depends on the area. Some clubs and some ordinances have made deals with the local police that they can inspect, do warrantless periodic inspections. I'm not familiar with this particular
we should go back to the background, though.
Or this particular club. I'm just saying some allow that and some do it quite frequently.
Yeah, but let's finish with the background.
Well, wait a minute. I just want to find out something real quick, because it's important to the story that was being told. If you've made an agreement, now that you've brought that point up, with a local community, that they can do on-site inspections, and are you giving up your right to a warrant when you
and the way I understand most of it's written is that the inspections are simply, we're going to come in and look around. We're not going to go into private areas. We're not going to ask you to unlock your plants or anything. It's just we're going to come and make sure it looks safe, and we're going to just come in.
So
and
I guess I'm still
some municipalities require advance notice, but some of them, like Hamtramck, they can come in at any time.
Right.
But I'm still not
getting.
And
yes, you are waiving some rights. Yes,
you are waiving your right to a warrant in the event that they find some evidence.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
But at the same time, a lot of these places are generally open to the public anyway. So.
Well, not really, because they're not open to the public unless you have a card. You can't get in there unless you have a card.
But into the vestibule part.
Well, like the outer area.
Sure,
in other words, anybody can walk into the outer area to the counter, and
Sure.
then once you present your card at the counter, then you can get
Right.
past the curtain or the.
But like I said,
door.
this is highly localized stuff, and if the local option bill passes, it'll continue to be probably highly localized.
Okay, Scott. So pick it up from there. The police officer says, "I'm here to snoop. I'm checking things out," and then what happens?
By him giving me notice that there was no search warrant, I had no business with the man, so I proceeded to leave. I got in my vehicle and I left.
So you went outside and you got in your car and you went down the street just like any other day.
Right.
Just like you're leaving the convenience store.
Sounds good so far.
And then what happens?
I got 5 minutes down the road, and the same officer was ripping through town, chased me down. Well, he pulled me over on this busy road, demanded that I get out of the vehicle, and I said, "Yeah, I don't have probable cause." He said, he does have probable cause by me being in this premise at this time. He felt that I had done something wrong.
So you were suspect by the fact that you were in the building at the time that he entered and you left when he entered, so that made you somehow suspicious, and that gave him probable cause to chase you down.
He never observed the transaction at all. That was before he even arrived, right?
Correct.
So
he had nothing to do with it. He had no idea what took place.
So and you didn't tell him what took place, so I'm assuming somebody at the club did. He probably squeezed that out of somebody there.
And he pulled it out of thin air because the amount of time that it took for him to chase me down, there was no conversation took place. He ran out the door, basically.
He made an assumption that something happened.
Right.
So
because you left, he assumed your guilt.
Now, ultimately, you were charged with delivery?
Delivery, yeah.
Delivery, yeah.
Which is a felony.
Yes.
And now, did he arrest you at the time?
No. There was absolutely no knowledge of what was to come.
Okay,
Wait,
so
you weren't arrested?
No.
He filed charges later.
2 months.
And so 2 months later, he decided that this is worth going after. Wow, that's interesting. So somebody up higher up had to probably sign off on whether they were going to prosecute that kind of a case.
Sometimes they do take a while to develop the cases. Big Daddy's case took 8 to 10 months for them to finalize.
Yeah, but Big Daddy was a bigger fish, I think, on the end of that line.
Denise, you see this all the time too, though, right? Encounters followed by charges filed months later.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and it's a bit unusual. I'm not sure it's appropriate for me to continue to comment on the facts of this because it's pending, but I'll be general about it. A lot of the times it's usually when they seize some marijuana or they do a blood draw because they're sending it to a crime lab, and then they need to send it to the prosecutor to decide whether or not they have enough to file
certain barriers, certain thresholds of evidence have to be met before the prosecutor's willing to prosecute the case.
Sure.
We have to know that we have to know what substance this is. We have to know what
again,
weight it is.
I hate to keep saying this, but it also depends on the municipality. I mean, let's face it, some counties have less to do than other counties.
It's totally true. That really is.
I mean, I can't, this probably wouldn't have happened in Wayne County,
So
for
Scott,
example.
Scott, someone must have dropped a dime on you then, brother.
Like, I sure as heck would not get
No pun
stopped.
intended.
I sure as heck wouldn't get stopped in Shiawassee County, like ever. Like they sit around. I mean, there are some counties that are just, not as busy. So I think the Thumb area. I discourage people in the Thumb area from being too comfortable because from what I've heard, law enforcement in the Thumb area is fairly aggressive.
Look, attorneys are my friends. They've always been my friends. But sometimes you've got unscrupulous people in that profession, just like you have some in any profession.
The thing I guess that's the most, and I know what you're about to say, so I'm just going to preface it. The thing that I have to tell you that I've been the most frustrated about being an attorney in Michigan is that we're not required to do continuing legal education, and we're not required to declare a specialty. So tomorrow or next Saturday I could walk in here and I could tell your entire listening audience that I'm a bankruptcy expert. And I have no experience in bankruptcy. Or I could tell them I'm a criminal defense expert or a planning and estate expert, and I'm not. So you can just jump into any area of law you feel like and advertise that, and your clients who may not have vetted you as much or who may not be aware that we're not required to do that are the ones that end up ultimately, working out your experience, and that's not appropriate. I've never liked it, and I'm also not a big fan of people who say they're general practice lawyers and they'll do anything, because it's not possible. I'm telling you, to be an expert in more than 3 areas of law. It's impossible to keep up on.
Now, Scott sought me out from the area that he lives in after having heard about this show and listened to the show a couple of times, and I explained it because I've talked to him. How many hours have we talked off the air, Scott? How many children could have been conceived and born during the period of time that I'm just saying it's a long time. Elephants could have been conceived during this.
Interesting way of measuring time.
Well, I'm just saying,
Gestation period is not my normal clock.
7 years for an elephant. Wow. I'm just saying we talked a long time. So my point is this.
10 months, right?
Oh, I don't
know. Elephants are 7 years.
No, it doesn't take 7 years for an elephant to have a child.
It does.
No, it does.
It does too. Go look it up.
Back to the topic.
7 years on an elephant. I'm serious.
That's going to be our trivia question today. Go ahead.
Next week, check out the elephant question. So, back to the point at hand. I've talked to Scott for a long time off the air, and I've figured out that Scott's kind of like the rest of us. He's a po' boy. He doesn't have any money. And he dug up a large amount of cash to give an attorney to represent him in this case. And it makes me mad because, it seems like there's an awful lot of, questions about evidence here. There's an awful lot of questions about, whether there was a warrant, whether the evidence... Could you bring a motion to dismiss? Maybe could you bring a motion to suppress evidence? Could you have a hearing on any of these things before you take the guy's, probably borrowed money and just swallow it in one bite and tell them to take a plea bargain, which is, that's horrible. That's a horrible thing to do.
The reason it's so important to seek out an attorney who specializes in medical marijuana law is because the law is changing weekly at this point.
Right.
You really have to be, up on it. I mean, the period between the Kuhn case coming down and the King case coming down was a couple months, a few weeks. It was ridiculous.
Right.
And the King case may be, our answer to Kuhn. It's happening that fast. And you really need to keep up on it. So your basic, garden variety criminal defense attorney locally. At least the people in Livingston County will send clients to me going, this is a little bit too much, over our
think
heads.
Some people don't have a clear idea of how the Supreme Court works. It's not like the Supreme Court can just decide to rule on any particular law. They have to be brought law in a particular case in its form on a particular question brought before them for decision.
And they have to feel like lower court made a mistake in some way in order to be able to hear it.
Well, and you need to know if you are representing a criminal defense client with medical marijuana charges or cannabis charges, you need to have good timing.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I can tell you that my partner and I have successfully stayed a couple of criminal defense cases pending the outcome of Kuhn or pending King. And now they're actually asking us, because this is going to be first impression, to file dismissal motions based on King. But the rules in King were very specific. The Supreme Court gave us dot-to-dot instructions on exactly when you can file what. And if you don't file your King dismissal motions at pretrial, you're losing your ability to do it. So...
Oh, you have to do that as a pretrial motion.
Oh, yeah. That's what it says.
And once again, if your case is advanced past pretrial, you can't go back, as Denise is mentioning. And if you don't have a legal counsel that recognizes when they're required in order to meet these standards, then your money is being essentially
It's just like your right to remain silent. If you start talking, it goes away.
Yeah,
right?
and a malpractice action is going to be really difficult to file in this particular area right now because there's not
too much question mark. It's too gray.
It's not a very well developed standard.
Right.
But back to Scott, your situation. Apparently, you got some advice from an attorney that maybe not have been as complete as it could have been. And what's your situation now, then, Scott? Where are you at?
Legal limbo. I'm not really at any where I left off with the jurisdiction is where I'm at. I pled down to a misdemeanor, but I don't even know what misdemeanor I pled down to. And,
you see, this is what makes me mad, because in order for him to plead guilty to a misdemeanor in front of the judge, he has to allocute. That means he has to tell the judge what he did wrong. and clearly tell. Look, every judge I've ever seen take one of these things, they have to tell them what they did wrong in order to accept their guilty plea. This guy can't even explain to us a week later what he pled guilty to.
Well, he's been speaking to a new lawyer, which is good.
Yeah.
And, he's also been, you got him turned on to an attorney who's a specialist in this area. And I talked to Scott off the air earlier this week, and I told him that he had a girl. So I'm like, if I've heard of them, that's good.
Yeah.
No, seriously. We kind of all know each other. So.
Well, yeah, for sure. And, there you can list them on a couple of hands. The good ones, and probably maybe on one hand in this state. The really good ones.
He probably pled down to possession. It's do you have any priors, Scott, that you're willing to?
Yes.
Okay, so maybe not.
I have 2 misdemeanor marijuana charges
before the law.
Yeah. So you're not
pre-08.
Yeah. So you're not available to have that expunged. So as long as misdemeanors aren't always the most fun, but it's better than having a felony conviction because you can continue to grow and be a caregiver at some point.
There's so many things that being a felon prevent you from being.
Without discussing anything further, Scott, about the specifics of your case, do you feel better about now that at least you've got some people that are maybe more competent in handling the situation? Do you feel better about your disposition at the moment?
I feel a lot better about having some outside source because the attorney that I was counting on threw me under the bus, and without a second opinion or a place to voice an opinion.
Well, in fairness, I guess because the attorney that was representing you, who we've never named here, and won't, because I don't even know who they are.
No, let's not.
No, I'm just saying I don't even know who they are. But my point is this:
anyway.
in fairness to whoever that person was and to the profession, I guess I could see somebody taking that kind of a route without maybe explaining it thoroughly, which is bad bedside manner, in my opinion, because these things are difficult to prosecute. They take some time, and the amount of money was, what was it? It was bigger than a bread box, smaller than a car. The amount of money you had to come up with for this guy. Girl.
It was a decent retainer. I know what he paid.
So this amount of money was not going to probably be enough to get into a trial situation where there was a lot of back and forth and a lot of filing of motions.
No, but 99% of these don't need to be tried. However, and I will say this, the Supreme Court just reminded us, the United States Supreme Court, that attorneys are required to give effective assistance of counsel, meaning advise you of all of your legal options prior to pleading you out, and a lot of times that hadn't been happening.
I can tell you it happened to me. They didn't give me all of
the
those.
U.S. Supreme Court just reminded us not too long ago, maybe a month ago, in one of its decisions in this particular semester, that you are even, when you have a court-appointed attorney or a private attorney, that they're required to give you effective assistance of counsel, meaning they're required to educate you on your case and what your options are prior to making a decision and pleading you out, because it's your case. It's not the attorney's case. We don't have a right to tell you can't testify. We don't have a right to tell you have to take a plea. We advise you, but we can't tell you.
But don't you have an obligation to provide a vigorous defense?
Yes, absolutely.
And because you're taking them on as a you're representing these people.
But you also have
now.
an obligation not to take $10,000 of a client's money knowing that the odds of you winning aren't that good. You need to make them aware of, look, we've got a 20-80 chance here. If you want to take it, I'll do it. Because I've told clients that before, not in a civil
because
way.
Some people still, but despite the odds, want to pay the money and take the opportunity to present that defense.
Some do. They'd rather throw money at the lawyer and keep
attorneys are businessmen too, just like anyone else.
For sure.
And they're held to the same standards as other businessmen are.
But still,
just like that, we should have the same cautions walking into an attorney relationships that we would with any other business relationship.
Correct. That retainer, though, would have provided enough to money to at least go, hey, can we have a hearing on evidence here?
Oh, absolutely.
Or hey, can we move to dismiss here based on the act? At least give some swing of the bat before you pitch them right out to plead down to this. This is your best out, and then swallow their gulp and go take their money and go away.
And I don't know the specifics of that relationship.
Right.
But I mean, if Scott's unhappy, definitely he can file a grievance with the attorney commission.
The takeaway is this, Scott. Vet your attorneys out before you employ them, and make sure you understand the law before you get with an attorney. Try to.
Thanks for sharing your story.
We'll be right back.
More of your calls next. We gonna bend over or no? Yeah, you gotta. Okay. Steve and Rick will be right back after this. The Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
Hey, Steve Greene here for the Medical Marijuana Certifications at AMMP. They're the American Medical Marijuana Professionals. You'll find them just north of Utica Road on Gratiot in Roseville. Their address is 28349. Now, call-ins are welcome, but you're better off calling for an appointment. They have a toll-free number, 877-RX-420-99. That's 877-RX-420-99 for American Medical Marijuana Professionals. That's AMMP on Gratiot in Roseville.
If you or someone you know received a traffic ticket, has been charged with a misdemeanor, drinking and driving, criminal offense, or has had their driver's license taken away, they need an attorney. They need attorney Glenn McCandless. He's helped hundreds of people solve their legal problems over the past 16 years.
My law firm is dedicated to providing quality legal services at affordable rates.
Call us at 586-755-2900. Again, that's 586-755-2900. Call now.
So we're back in the studio. We still have on the line Scott from the Saginaw area. Hey, Scott, what are you doing next Saturday?
I don't know that I'm able to get to Cedar Point if that's your date.
Well, do you have a way to get there? Could you get a ride down at least to this area, to the Detroit area?
Oh, no. Scheduling. I'm busy.
You're busy. You got stuff going on.
That's the ice cap.
Well, we were going to give you a swing at Cedar Point tickets, but if you can't go, that would be kind of a stupid thing to do, wouldn't it?
Well, I seriously appreciate the offer, but no, give them to somebody who wants them for sure.
All right, very well. So lesson learned then, Scott, and thanks for explaining your situation to everybody here on the air so that they can take that bit of knowledge under their wing as it may to apply in the future in their worlds. Because I think it's an important thing to point out that, hey, even though because people are tremendously misconceived about the law, even to this day, people still think if you ask them if they have a medical marijuana card, they think that it's legal. That they will say, hey, I've got a card, I'm legal. I beg to differ with that phrasing, with that terminology.
It's difficult, and it's also such a law in flux, and it's very important that you get somebody who specializes in the area. So call around.
Scott, you were not aware, were you, that you could not make a transfer? At least according to the law, you could not make a transfer where money was involved that was somebody that wasn't listed as your registered caregiver through the program. That's how the courts. You were not aware of that court law.
And the gray spots that we speak of aren't ever explained to anybody on the whole thing. The licensing board or somebody should give us some heads up.
Their answer to everything is no.
The state, first of all, the state website is pitifully ancient. And as far as its information, it dates back to the original act and the original regs. It doesn't tell you anything new. The hard part, Scott, and this is where, continuing to be educated is so key. The hard part is that even though the law right now is still back with the compassionate apothecary case, and it says that patient-to-patient compensated transactions are not protected under the Act, there are lots of dispensaries operating right now who are doing compensated patient-to-patient transactions. So even though it's being tolerated, at times you're still at risk of being prosecuted for it. It's a very, very dicey area right now. At no point could I advise somebody that it's okay to do. I'm back to my I-96 story. Anybody else could tell you all day that it's okay to speed down I-96 and go at 85 because you most likely won't get stopped and you probably won't get a ticket. But I can't tell you the speed limit's not 70.
Right.
You know, it's just how it is right now, and it's a mess.
Well, and you take your
hopefully-
chances. If you go 85, you might get an accident. You might get a ticket.
And you might not. I mean, I can tell you there are 10,000 people today. They're going to drive 85 miles an hour down I-96, not get in an accident, not get stopped, and not get a ticket. But they're all breaking the law. And the one guy that gets stopped and he's only going 78. He's going to call my office. He's go 10,000 people just didn't get stopped. And I'm like, I know, but that doesn't mean you weren't breaking the law.
You were the wounded
sorry.
buffalo in the herd. They caught up with you.
And that's where I'm stuck right now. I get people calling my office constantly. Well, how come I can't do this? Because I just saw 10 other people do it. And I said, I'm not telling you can't. I'm telling you, I can tell you what the law says right now.
If you do it, there's a consequence, and here's what the consequence is. Explain it to people because they are all adults and they can make the decision for themselves, but they have to be aware of the consequences.
You do. And it right now, the most, I think the most difficult part for people to comprehend, and it's hard for me to even explain, is that it is still localized. I mean, you can get away with some stuff in Wayne County that you cannot get away with in Livingston County, and that you cannot get away with in Traverse City.
Oh, sorry. This says Cedar Point calling us.
Cedar Point calling.
Cedar Point's calling. The ocean
Scott,
is calling.
The other thing is I think, the idea that people don't really understand. You brought up a really good point, and that's that nobody gets to explain to you when you get that card in the mail what you can do and what you can't do.
Oh.
It's still gray. It's still, there's a lot of stuff that you just don't understand.
That little blue piece of paper is
nothing.
They don't even give that anymore. They stopped sending the blue paper.
We know, and it's almost gives. It shouldn't give. They should just send nothing.
I think
honestly,
they send the blue rolling paper now. I'm just kidding.
Because it's worse. It's worse to give you a little bit of information that you can sort of, make presumptions off of than to just leave you completely.
But what's really worse is your idiot brother-in-law Larry telling you what the law means. That's the worst thing of all. There's so many different sources out there where you can find out. You can go onto forums, you can go onto websites, you can go onto reputable things, even editorials on Huffington Post from people like Michael Camoran and Denise Policella.
Right.
I mean,
the Michigan Normal website and that kind of thing.
So no one should have to rely on bad data from some idiot guy who's got 2 Budweisers in each hand. So
liar, pants on fire.
Hold on now. The judge, as he's sentencing or talking to me, he says, I don't understand the whole rule.
Oh, yeah.
That's not surprising either.
No, most judges don't. Most judges
don't.
don't.
How can I be expected to understand it when he can't?
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's absolutely valid point, Scott. And a lot of judges don't understand it yet, along with a lot of city councils and stuff, which is why everyone's sort of in a holding pattern. And in the meantime, what's against the law is still against the law. Like, don't have a weapon. There are a few things that, there are a few things that are just going to be eye-catching for law enforcement. So there are things you just need to be aware of, and we try to talk about them as much as possible.
How does the controlled or concealed weapons permit work with this?
It doesn't. It doesn't. Look, this is the thing. You weren't allowed to possess marijuana anyway when you had your CCW, which used to be called a CPL. Now you very, very specifically should not possess, own, or use a gun or ammunition if you have your medical marijuana card. I'm not telling you to sell your guns or get rid of your CPL. I'm saying let's store your guns in a different location for a while until this whole thing gets sorted out. Because even if you are arrested and charged with possession of a firearm in the commission of a drug crime, and the drug charges get dropped, they can still keep that weapons charge in there, and you really don't want a felony weapons charge. Look, even if marijuana becomes fully, completely legal at some point, people with felony weapons charges and convictions probably still won't get to use it. So that is a very dicey area right now. And it's never a good idea to have marijuana and a weapon on you at the same time anyway.
I'm not a concealed weapons holder, so it doesn't pertain. I was just curious.
Well, we're an open carry state, which is the weirdest thing. I mean, but just neither one.
Yeah, Scott, we got to run right now. We got all kinds of stuff you have to do, but thanks so much for calling and sharing your story today.
Thanks for having me.
And good luck to you. Keep in touch so we want to keep following up on what's going on.
Oh, and Scott, just so you know, the gestation period for an elephant is 22 months.
Is it 22 months?
I just looked it up.
Oh, man. Who told me 7 years?
Gross.
I can win next week.
Come on.
Okay, you can. That'll be
time.
our question for next week.
I think
Can you imagine 22 months? I'd die.
7 years.
It'll take a long time.
It's like the Alien movie, but
That was-
in really, really bad slow motion.
Still like it's like a prison sentence. You get 22 months.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, have you ever seen a baby elephant? They're pretty big.
They are.
Can you imagine eating pickles and ice cream for 22 months straight?
It's a lot of calcium building
It's a
there.
lot.
Where does
I
an
want to know
elephant get pickles and ice cream?
who's running out to Ben and Jerry's for the elephant. That's what I want to know.
Calimax. Can eat a Calimax. So thanks again for calling, Scott. We'll talk to you soon, brother.
That's
and
a really big pickle.
Next week, think of us at Cedar Point. So it looks like we got Gunner on the phone lines. Gunner used to didn't you used to he's Gunner's out east.
He's east.
Didn't you used to be out in East Point? I guess didn't he used to be on the Medical Mike show? Weren't you on Medical Mike's show?
Yeah, I was helping Medical Mike.
You were like the stunt guy.
I was the gun on the run.
Gun on the run. That's what he called it. What's up, Gunner? What can we do for you?
Hey, I was just curious about, there's a lot of hunters and everything out there that are also, carded.
Yep.
Now, I mean, are they legal to turn around and keep their guns in their gun safe?
Not according to the ATF.
Constructive possession.
The Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives federally has said that that's not right.
And while the state is not required to enforce federal law, they do from time to time.
Whenever it suits their purpose, right?
My general advice is be very aware of that law and never have marijuana with you or be under its influence when you're hunting.
Can you transfer your firearm?
Which I think defeats the entire purpose. But
That would be a normal thing there. I mean,
I don't know any hunters that go
I'm just saying, I have guns that are passed on and so on that
sure.
Are into a locked gun safe, that's been secured. The keys are nowhere in the house. There's nowhere to get to them.
But do you have access to those keys?
Not here at the house.
But do you have access to them? Are those your keys? If you say, hey, those are my keys, give me my keys?
I could get them, yeah.
Yeah, so that's constructive
not,
possession.
Well, they're not on your keychain right now?
No.
Okay. No. If
That's a
this
better
is
scenario.
the thing, it's a better scenario.
For sure.
I would never advise anybody to grow marijuana and have a weapon at the same location ever.
Yeah, that's
even if it's locked, even if
or have a registered weapon in your name.
Even if it's locked, even if it's unloaded, even if it's in a gun safe, I would really recommend never doing that. Not right now.
Okay.
I mean, I would hope we get to a point where that becomes more clear.
Look, the ATF asked a guy that we know is a bounty hunter by trade, by profession, a bounty hunter, has asked this man, because he's a carded patient, to relinquish himself of all weapons, everything. You got to get rid of them, or we're going to charge you as a felon.
Wow.
So he doesn't manhunt anymore. He doesn't go after the bounty because he doesn't use the bean bags and the pepper spray. And the pellet guns or whatever they have.
Because we shoot back in Michigan.
That's right. He's been shot 8 times when he did have a gun. Why would he go out there without one?
Yeah.
And obviously there are a lot of people who are transporting their medicine in areas that they'd prefer to have a gun with them in, but I really just discourage them from doing
That's
it.
a no-no.
And certainly don't have... This isn't currently law, but it's coming, so you might as well hear it. Please do not travel with marijuana in the interior of your vehicle. Keep it in the trunk.
Keep it away from the cab part, so nobody in the cab has access to it.
Keep your junk in the trunk.
What if you own a van? Should you have just a locked box in the back of it?
Yes.
Yeah,
something you can't reach.
Make sure it's secured. And then again, you're obviously going to have the key to that. But like Denise said, all the way in the back where you cannot get access.
Right,
yeah.
right.
Just treat it like open alcohol, basically.
Where would the area fall, say, for a bow hunter as far as having, a bow in the house?
Yeah,
it doesn't apply to bows, does it?
They haven't treated bows. Yeah, they just said guns and ammunition.
Firearms.
Yeah.
Actually, I think they encompass all projectile weapons, including crossbows. And
I'd have to look. To be completely honest, I'd have to look it up.
Wow.
But
we got a question for the record books. Hey, Gunner, were you listening to the show last week?
I caught in. I worked last week. Playing a band also.
Real quick question: you got time to go to Cedar Point Saturday? My point is, you want to play the contest, see if you can win Cedar Point tickets.
I'll give it a whirl.
All right, stand by. We'll play Cedar Point the Toker trivia with Gunner in just a moment.
423-2350. We'll be right back after this on the Medical Marijuana Radio Show, the Medical Marijuana Radio Network.
Well, this formula is specifically to grow cannabis.
That's Ray Kogo for Kogo's Original Cannabis Formula Nutrients.
Now, everybody knows that large buds and tight buds come from genetics. and then the amount of light you use. The other part is having the correct nutrients that the plant's going to use. Mine specifically to grow cannabis, so it's going to get everything that it needs.
Ray knows what you may not. Those nutrient companies you can get in most grow shops are not cannabis specific. That means they take the stuff out of the bloom that your plant needs in bloom. You can get Kogo's original cannabis formula nutrients too. It's just 2 1-gallon jugs that make over 600 gallons of nutrients, all for less than $100. See the difference for yourself.
More trichomes, bigger buds, faster growth, and for less money.
Go to CANNABISformula.com or call Ray Direct at 517-375-8998. That's 517-375-8998. Kogo's original cannabis formula nutrients.
The Committee for a Safer Michigan is collecting signatures to put repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults on the November ballot, and we need your help. Outlawing marijuana has not reduced its availability, made society safe, nor reduced access for minors. Marijuana prohibition has wasted limited tax dollars, put otherwise law-abiding citizens in handcuffs, eroded the public's relationship with law enforcement, and denied relief to seriously ill, injured, and dying citizens that were supposed to be protected by the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act. The Committee for a Safer Michigan is working to legalize marijuana for adults, and we need your help to put it on the ballot. Go to repealtoday.org to find out more about this historic effort. That's repealtoday.org to learn more, or call 269-548-8422 to end prohibition and sign the petition. Ending marijuana prohibition will reduce access by minors, allow law enforcement to focus on violent crime, reduce gang activity and organized crime, and create jobs by allowing a new Michigan hemp industry. Paid for with regulated funds by the Committee for a Safer Michigan, 2930 East Jefferson Avenue, Detroit, Michigan, 48207.
So we're back. We've got Gunner. It's Gun on the Run. Formerly with the Medical Mike Show from a while back, if you remember the Medical Mike Show.
Sure we do.
Now, Gun, have you had a chance? You said you were listening to the show a little bit in and out last week. Hello?
Hello.
You say you were listening to the show last week in and out a little bit?
You know, I heard parts of it, not a whole lot.
Well,
I mean, like
he's so full of it. He's just being nice.
Not being truthful.
He's not. It's okay. You can tell us you were doing something more important.
I'll tell you what. So we'll just try and ask you a good question. Do you want to ask one of yours, or
I do, but it pertains to last week's show. So
it needs to be from last week's show. It has
to. All right, if you want to give it a shot, Gunner, here it is.
So hang on. Go ahead and ask the question. I got to play a contest. All right, go ahead. Ask the question.
Okay. Am I talking over contest music or something?
I can hear you.
All right. Our special guest last week was from what national organization? You buzzed about it.
Let's say normal.
That's a good guess,
that
but
was
it is
a good guess.
Incorrect. I'm sorry.
Oh my God,
Gunner!
Is it the
you buzzed Gunner before you answered.
It's the Price is Right music.
It is the Price is Right.
They used to do that when Bob Barker had to fart. They would play that music.
I like that. We had your pet spayed or neutered.
There's a segment I caught on YouTube. We had it on Bud TV for a little while, where a guy from the community got on the show as a contestant, and he kept bidding $4.20 on every product. It was funny because Bob Barker was clueless. He had no idea that he was making a pot reference on the show. Yeah, and he's like, I've always wanted to do this, Bob. He goes, so and so, what's your bid? Because he was the first guy up. He was the last guy down. Funny. He gets the first bid. So he goes, I've waited to do this all my life, Bob. $4.20, Bob. $4.20. And Bob takes the bid, and then the next guy, they show the next segment because he didn't win, and he get back up and he bids $4.20. There was a much higher priced product. So he goes, what was the last bid? And they were like $1,200. He goes, $1,420, Bob. And he lost again. And then we got around. He bids $4.20 on the last item because now he's the last guy bidding, right? He's everybody else is before him. So he bids. He says, "What was the last bid?" And she goes, $350. He goes, $4.20, Bob. I got to go with $4.20. And then the lady right after him, who just came down, bid $4.21. He wasn't quite bid $4.21 and won. So
hate that.
Sorry about that. It was pretty funny.
That's funny.
Anyway, sorry about that, Gunner, but keep listening. We're going to be giving away tickets to. Well, I guess we're not. We're done. We're out of tickets. We're going to be giving away a Dragon Light personal vaporizer from Puff Danny's down in Wyandotte.
Ooh, nice stuff. Yeah.
Just listen to the show. Know a fact from the show, and maybe you can win.
The happy man, Puff Danny.
How big is that thing?
It's about the size of a pack of cigarettes.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I want it.
It's got a little battery. You push the battery
I can't
pack
play,
in.
can I?
Well, can you smoke? Are you? Gotta...
Yeah, I'm not allowed to play though. I'm on.
No,
staff
you don't.
Here.
You can't win.
I'll just go get one.
Yeah, you go get one down at Puff Danny's.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, generate some business for Puff.
Yeah. Oh, I have.
I'm sure you have. I'm sure you
I'll
have.
go Christmas shopping there.
So we're looking for a couple of other callers. If you want to call and play the contest, 248-848-1310, 248-848-1310. Thanks a lot for calling, Gunner. And we'll see if we can squeeze you in. Actually, we could. I was thinking we could try and give away the Dragon Light thing, but see, the Cedar Point tickets are timely. We got one pair left. We might as well give them away.
They're just going to have to wait. And next week, and they're going to have to remember about the gestation period of the elephant. I swear that's going to be our question.
He's playing a give it away
22 months, everybody. 22 months.
645 days. Oh, we have contestants.
Look at this. We got contestants lining up. That's a good thing.
They heard all about the vape. They want it.
Sorry.
Good thing. So, when we go to Cedar Point, is there any particular ride you're looking forward to riding?
Raptor.
The dragster, of course.
I've never been
the
on
security guard dragging me to the office ride. That's what I want.
You can do that right here in Michigan.
I can't wait till we get thrown out because you can't prove you have press credentials.
That security guard ride, that's a dangerous ride right there.
You never know how it's going to end.
Look, did we say that clients weren't eligible? Because it looks like Glenn McCandless is online.
McCandless.
That's my buddy Glenn.
Let's try and take Glenn. We'll give you a shot. Why not, Richard?
Well,
let's try Richard first. We're gonna
comes
go
off holding. He's still talking.
We'll go with Richard from Detroit. Hang on a second, Glenn. So Richard, do you want to go ahead and try and
wait? Did you just discriminate against Glenn because he's a lawyer?
Well, we got to give a listener.
He's a guest, though. He's been a guest.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying.
So
we want you to go, though, Glenn.
Let's give these tickets away.
Were you listening to the show last week, Rick?
Well, I'm sorry,
Richard.
Richard, is it okay if I call you Rick for short?
That's fine.
He's like, no.
Okay. So, were you listening to the show last week?
I did.
Okay, cool. So, do you have did you?
Our special guest last week was from what national organization?
Oh, you already did that one. Yeah, so we can't do
but
that.
we didn't get an answer.
We didn't give the answer.
Look, it's okay. That's okay. The question's been asked. They've only got 20 seconds. It's not fair. You don't get the concept.
I don't get the concept?
No, you've only got 20 seconds to answer the question. If you heard the question 20 minutes ago.
Less rules and more giveaway.
More giveaway. Time. Tick,
less rules, more giveaway.
All the other major stations do it this way.
Well, yeah, but this is not. We're not a major station.
Richard,
they're potheads. Give them a few minutes.
The kids don't want to see mom and dad
they
fight.
Need to work through the answer.
Let's argue and more give you away.
Poor people need time to process.
Richard, we're going to ask you a question. So here's the contest team. So
sounds like a giant mosquito.
Okay. You know that we had this problem with the Balloon Fest, and we were talking about the Balloon Fest last weekend. So
let it go.
That's one of my questions.
It is one of your questions, Ryan. So we want to know what community did
I'll never let it go.
What community did I grow up in? What community did I grow up in?
Amish is not there. Now, I would have tagged you for a Mennonite. I don't know.
Mennonite. We don't want to get into the whole biblical times thing.
It's not.
You walked away from the Amish when you were young.
Let's get Glenn on the line. Glenn, do you want to go with us? Because, I don't have another set of tickets to give away, but I think you'd be a blast to go out and hang out with at the park.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Glenn's got a couple of kids. We'll give them tickets too, right, Steve?
Look, I haven't got any tickets. I just told you I have no tickets. Are you digging into your own pocket for tickets?
One pocket of 12-year-old.
Or do you think you might be able to come down with us? Because it'd be a lot of blast.
That would be fun.
$35 is almost like free.
It's next weekend. If you want to get your tickets online, $35. We're going to do a live broadcast from the park underneath the Raptor, and then enjoy the park the rest of the day. I'm bringing my swim trunks. Anybody going skinny dipping over there at the
I'll leave my camera at home.
Let's do it.
Back to the security ride for Steve.
I like the dangerous rides. They're more fun. Live on the edge, folks.
Cuff me and beat me with a club.
How did that get involved in this? I don't know.
Dave, what happened? Where'd everybody in the park go? I don't know.
Well, we have to hold on to ourselves, though.
That's
He's
what
got to
happened
get
last-
us on like 10 rides on the top speed dragster.
We don't want that.
Steve in the swimsuit gets us to the front of the line.
We promise it'll be a big giant one piece. Does that help?
Big giant. Okay.
Okay, join us next week out at Cedar Point for the Medical Marijuana Radio Show. Thanks for coming, guys.
The Medical Marijuana Radio Show and RadioWeedShow.com are trademarks. Copyright 2011.
The comments, ideas, and opinions expressed in the preceding program are those of the show participants only. Nothing stated in this program reflects the ideas, opinions, or beliefs of this radio station and
This
or
is
Clear Channel
Detroit's
Radio.
Progressive Talk, 1310 WDTW, Dearborn, Detroit. Listen 24 hours a day on iHeartRadio.